Quiz Review 4.1 to 4.3. This does say non-calculator for all of the quiz, but obviously you will be allowed to use a calculator. It says write answers in terms of pi if necessary. Convert each radian measure into degrees. When we're going from radians to degrees, we're going to multiply by 180 over pi. It's going to be what we do there, so I'm going to multiply by 180 over pi. The pi's cancel, and I'm left with 180 divided by 6, which gives me 30 degrees. Again, I'm converting from radians into degrees, so I multiply by 180 over pi. Pi's cancel, and I'm left with 5 times 180 divided by 3. If I'm doing this without a calculator, as I said before, it's better to divide before you multiply. And I know that 180 divided by 3 is 60, and 5 times 60 is 300 degrees. Now we're converting each degree measure into radians. So in order to do that conversion, I multiply by pi over 180. So I'm going to multiply by pi over 180, and I get 225 divided by 180 pi. So I'm going to use my calculator here and do 225 divided by 180, and I hit enter and I get 1 1/4, 1.25, and I do math, enter, enter, and I get 5/4 pi. I will show you that on the calculator as well, just for this one. So what I did was I took 225 divided by 180, and I got 1.25, and I hit math, enter, enter, and it gave me the fraction 5/4. Alright, for 150 degrees, I'm going to again multiply by pi over 180. And I get 150 over 180 pi. I realize right away these can both be divided by 10. And then 15 and 18 are both divisible by 3. So I get 5/6 pi. Number 3 asks us to convert each revolution to degrees and radians. When you're converting revolutions to degrees, we multiply by 360. To radians, we're going to multiply by 2 pi, because 360 and 2 pi are the degree and radian equivalents of one another. So for degrees, it's 1/3 times 360, and I get 120 degrees. For radians, I get 1/3 times 2 pi, and I get 2 pi over 3. For letter B, 5/6, I'm going to have 5/6 times 360, and I know that 360 divided by 6 is 60. 5 times 60, I get 300 degrees. 5/6 times 2 pi, 2 and 6, that's going to become 1 and 3, so I get 5 pi over 3. Number 4, find the arc length when the radius is 2 centimeters and the angle is 240 degrees. I remember that arc length equals fraction of the circle times the circumference. So I don't know what my arc length is. I'll just call that A for arc length. My fraction of the circle is 240 out of 360 degrees times my circumference. Circumference is 2 pi r. So my circumference is 2 times pi times 2. Therefore my circumference is, sorry, I did not realize that you guys couldn't see this. I apologize. Is 4 pi. You're probably yelling at the video, move it up, move it up. So that's times 4 pi. And since I have a calculator, I can go ahead and put this into the calculator. So I can do 240 times 4, and then divide by 360. And I'm going to go ahead and hit math, enter, enter, because I know 2 2/3 can be converted to 8/3. So I get 8/3 pi. So this becomes 8/3 pi, and that would be centimeters. Right. For number 5, I have area of the sector when the radius is 10 inches, and the angle is pi over 6. So area of a sector is the fraction of the circle times the area of the circle. So I don't know the area of the sector, I'll just call that A. The fraction of my circle is pi over 6 divided by 2 pi times the area of my circle. Let's see, area is pi r squared, so the area is pi times 10 squared, which would be 100 pi, so times 100 pi. So I get pi over 6 times 1 over 2 pi, because remember, dividing by 2 pi is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal, times 100 pi. These pi's cancel, and I know that 100 divided by 2 is 50, and then both 50 and 6 can be divisible, or I can put it in the calculator. When I get to 50 over 6 pi, I'm going to go ahead and put that 50 over 6, 50 divided by 6, and I get 8 1/3, so I'll do math, enter, enter, and I get 25/3 pi, and that would be inches squared. 25/3 pi inches squared. Number 6, find the radius given that the area of the sector is 27 pi and the angle is 3/4 pi. Again, area of a sector equals fraction of the circle times the area of the circle. So I know the area of the sector is 27 pi. The fraction of my circle is 3 pi over 4 out of 2 pi times the area of a circle is pi r squared. And the r is what I don't know. Let's do some simplifying here. 27 pi equals 3/4 pi times 1 over 2 pi, because dividing by 2 pi is multiplying by the reciprocal 1 over 2 pi, times pi r squared. Here my pi's cancel, and let's see what I'm left with. I'm going to kind of draw up here. I get 27 pi on the left still equals, let's look at what I get on the right. On the top, I get 3 pi r squared, and on the bottom I get 8. Now I need to get the radius by itself, so I need to get rid of the 3 pi divided by 8, so I'm going to multiply by 8 divided by 3 pi. That'll get my 3 pi's to cancel and my 8's to cancel, but that means I have to do it on the left as well. 8 over 3 pi. And 27 pi divided by 3 pi is simply 9. So I get that 72 equals r squared. Take the square root. I do not need the negative root because it's a radius. So the radius is the square root of 72. If I was to simplify that, I could take the square root of 72 in my calculator, and I get the radius is approximately 8.485. And that would be, it doesn't tell me what we're measuring in, so that's units. Or I could rewrite the square root of 72 in an exact fashion is 36 times 2, which is 6 square root of 2. So either answer would work. A little more practice in converting. Convert each radian measure into degrees. So we're going to multiply by 180 over pi times 180 over pi. Pi's cancel, and I'm left with 180 divided by 3, which is 60 degrees. Again, I multiply by 180 over pi, and the pi's cancel. 180 divided by 6 is 30. 5 times 30 is 150 degrees. All right, now we're going to convert degrees into radians. So I'm multiplying by pi over 180 times pi over 180, and I get 210 over 180 pi. I realize right away they can be divided by 10, and 21 and 18 can both be divided by 3, so I get 7/6 pi. Again, I multiply by pi over 180, and I'm left with 330 over 180 pi. I realize again, these can both be divided by 10. And then 33 and 18 can both be divided by 3. And I get 11/6 pi. Convert revolutions to degrees. That means I'm going to multiply by 360 because it's degrees. So 3/4 times 360. I know that 360 divided by 4 is 90. 3 times 90 is 270 degrees. Again, you could put this in your calculator. 1/3 times 360, I realize is 360 divided by 3, which is 120 degrees. Convert each revolution, sorry I keep forgetting to move the paper up, to radians. So I'm going to multiply by 2 pi, since we're dealing with radians. So 2/3 times 2 pi, and I get 4 pi over 3. And lastly, 5/4, I'm going to multiply it by 2 pi, and I get, I can do my canceling out first, or I can do my reducing after. Let's do this one after, just to show you another way to do it. 10 pi over 4, and I realize that both 10 and 4 are divisible by 2, so I get 5/2 pi. I could have, right when I was here, so the 2 becomes a 1 and the 4 becomes a 2, and been left with 5 pi over 2. Done the simplifying first.